So the key to this slide is to really show you how many ways infections can get into our body. And one of the ways that infection can get in the body is, as you can see with the multiple arrows, is through the mouth. This can be in contaminated food, spoiled food, food that contains pathogens in it, uncooked food, but also as simple as putting your hands to your mouth and just touching your mouth after touching something, just gently rubbing your lip after touching someone's hospital bed, for example, or after a handshake, or simply by sipping a cup that someone else has sipped. So I think the key point here to understand is be careful and think twice before sharing with others, really any time, but especially during these winter months when it seems that opportunistic infections are really everywhere. I also wanted to talk about the mode of infection. So this can be as simple as borrowing someone's handkerchief, and perhaps people don't borrow Kleenexes anymore, but for older adults, my parents' generation, sharing a Kleenex or a handkerchief was quite common. You sneeze, your dad gives you his handkerchief, and you use it, and your dad puts it in his pocket. It sounds disgusting, perhaps for your generation, but this was not uncommon, especially, I would say, in the rural community that I grew up in. And that was not in 1845, for example. It was not really that long ago. It's just a different culture. And to really know that these types of infections can really hang out for a while and be dormant. So it can really be incubating in our body, and we may not actually be sick. So you may have experienced this before when a classmate or a family member is coughing and you learn they get the fever and you don't get the fever. And you think you are just fine. And you go through for a week or two, then boom, it hits you. You have a fever, and then you're having the same symptoms that classmate or family member had several weeks ago. So that is the nature of these nasty agents, that they can lay dormant for a while and just hit you when you least expect it. I want to just talk a little bit about septicemia. You may have heard of septicemia before. There are some amazing drugs that can be used to treat septicemia before someone actually dies from it. Septicemia spreads rapidly because it's in the bloodstream and is often the reason for death if it's not caught in time, or if a person is just very ill and perhaps on hospice care and bacterial infection or some sort of infection from a pathogen enters the bloodstream. The hands are the most prevalent direct and indirect method of infection transmission. I think those of you that are parents realize that when you kind of watch little kids playing the playground and those hands are touching everybody and they're having a wonderful time. And unfortunately, those pathogens are running amok when hands aren't washed, and it just where hands are placed, right? Whether it be in the mouth, nose, ears, and then the hands are touching another child. So just know that this is why it's so important to practice good hand washing and hygiene, as you will be practicing and demonstrating in 103 lab very soon.